Hey there everybody, DDP here coming to you, and I want to go over some of the specifics related to your holding of your guard, getting the perfect fighting stance, the positioning of the feet, the weight distribution between your legs, and how all the intricacies work, because these are all going to become very crucial part of your fighting stance as you continue on your journey to become a better and more dangerous fighter. Okay, so first of all, as we've been explaining in all the other videos, you're always going to start with your hips, your feet hip width apart. All right, if you're too wide, it makes an uncomfortable fighting stance. If you're too narrow, it puts you off balance. Okay, so hip width apart is your starting position all the time. Your power hand is the hand that you write with. Okay, that side always goes in the back. So first of all, you're gonna bring your, if you're right-handed, you're bringing your right foot back. So I'm right-handed, I'm gonna bring my right foot back, okay? And you notice I bring it back at a decent distance, all right? And then I'm gonna turn my foot 45 degrees that way, all right? I'm gonna turn my upper body at an angle, okay? We call this the slant, all right? So I'm a small target. This is a slant. Now, if I'm fighting like this is called fighting squared up. All right. When you fight squared up like this, you have it's a harder to block punches, and you're a much bigger target, and it's just easy to hit people that fight like this. Okay. So first of all, you want to start hip width apart. When you bring your foot back, you're going to notice how my feet are still hip width apart. I do not swing. One of the common mistakes I see all the time is people swing their foot back like this, and then all of a sudden my feet are in a straight line, and you'll notice how I'm having trouble maintaining my balance. All right, so you want to bring your feet straight, your foot straight back. Now you're hip width apart. Now I can actually move from this position. I'm on balance. Now I turn my foot 45-degree angle. Okay, this is straight on, and that's straight on. That's a 90-degree angle. We go right in the middle of it right here, okay? So now, 45-degree angle. Now, upper body is turned to the side where my shoulder is actually pointing at the opponent who's in front of me, all right? And so now I'm in my slant, all right? I have my feet positioning, and then I bring my guard up, okay? The guard are where your hands are positioned. So you're gonna notice here that when I bring my guard up, my right hand or my rear hand is tucked closely in tight, right here, and it goes straight up and down. My thumb and my forefinger circle my outer lip on the right side. All right, so this is one hand up. Then I bring the other hand up right here. Now, you'll notice how small of a target I am, all right? So if you get in this position at first, you're not used to making this position, so it might feel a little bit uncomfortable. That's completely normal. You have to train. There's certain little muscles and tendons that kind of get worked that you're typically not used to working if you don't get into a fighting stance like this. So you got to kind of train those. So if it's a little uncomfortable at first, it's normal. All right, so bring your hands up. And now you're going to notice how my hands are straight up and down, okay? You're going to notice I don't have a hand like this, and I don't have a hand like this, okay? Now I want you to look at this from right here, and you're going to notice, I call it your railroad tracks, okay? So when you say, what the heck does that mean? Your railroad tracks, I want you to think about it like this. If you have railroad tracks, they're parallel, and they run straight for miles and miles and miles forever, and they're always straight. If they cross, you know, the train goes off the rails. Well, in my style of fighting, I want you to think about your guard positioning as being railroad tracks. In other words, you keep your hands up, and if they go all the way up, all the way down, they're never going to cross, okay? Now you're doing this, again, from your fighting stance. So bring your power side back, adjust your foot, turn your body, point that shoulder at where your opponent would be, and then bring your guard up right here. You'll notice now I have a perfect fighting stance, okay? From here I'm dangerous. I'm very dangerous. I'm looking over my lead hand. You never want to bring your lead hand up so it's blocking your vision, okay? And you don't want to have it too low because it's very easy to get over. You bring it right here. Now you'll notice if I take a side angle, okay? I've had a lot of people say, oh, well, we can hit you, or you get hit with the overhand right. Let me tell you what. I'm anything but open in my fighting stance. There's an answer for every move my opponent is going to try to bring my way, okay? It's a built-in in my system. It's kind of like a built-in dummy move. It makes it think that I'm open, but I'm not. It's almost like a built-in setup. I'm very safe in this fighting stance here. If I turn this way, I'm very safe here. All right, I got my chin down. I got my guard up. I'm doing it from different angles, you'll see. Okay, and you'll see how my fighting stance is from different angles right here. I'm going to turn all the way around so you can see it. You notice here, I'm still in that hip width position. I have not lost that. All right? I just keep turning, 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 turning. I'm still in the perfect fighting stance. You never lose the fighting stance. In any fighting scenario, you always keep your fighting stance. Now, there are times when you're going to go and you're going to fight more squared up like this, okay? There's times like when you're moving and you're going back and forth. You know, there's times to get into a different fighting stance. But for the sake of this video and for the sake of this training, you are in a perfect fighting stance with your slant, full guard up, okay? There's different kinds of guards too. We'll get into that in future videos. Full guard up, and you have the weight balance between your legs. Now, the thing now that I want to talk about is weight distribution, okay? So basically, on a very basic level, you're going to have the weight distributed about 50-50 between your left and your right leg, okay? 50-50. Now you notice how I got a little bounce here, all right? So this is my fighting stance, and my balance, my hands are down. I'm relaxed right now. But I have a little bounce in my legs, all right, where my knees, where you'll notice my knees are bending just a little bit here. This is good. You want to get this. You don't want to be like this, and you don't want to be like this. You want to have that nice little kind of rhythm and bounce in your legs like this, nice and tight, like a new spring in a car, where you get in the car and you have new springs in, and it's kind of like they're nice and tight, and the car bounces. It's not like this. This is not good. And you don't want to be in a position like this fighting, because you can't hold that. You have to hold your whole body weight. Just a nice little relaxed position, okay? The next thing I want to go over is the back foot. You'll notice how my right heel is off the ground. It's probably off the ground in a solid 1.5 inches, okay? The back heel being off the ground acts as a shock absorber for whatever, okay? You could do a lot off this back heel. If somebody throws a punch, okay, and it's coming at my head, I can pull back, and I can go back here, and then I can pull even further back. I drop the heel, I can pull even further back. All right, if I have that heel already on the ground, and somebody throws something, I can only go so far back before I fall back off balance. Okay, so that's why you always want to keep that heel off the ground. Now my left leg, you'll notice, now I want to just let you see what's going on here on my left leg. So I'm going to drop my right heel. My left leg, you see how I can easily pick up the left heel off the ground, okay? Now, that's how the weight is distributed. The weight is actually pushing through the pad, through actually the top, the middle to top of my pad on my foot. It's pushing into the ground and at an angle this way, down and into the ground, okay? And with this position here, I'm in a very solid fighting stance. Okay, I'm on balance at all times. You can't get me off balance if I don't get out of this position. You can't get me to the ground if I stay in this position. Okay, I'll get into all that later. But the perfect fighting stance, the weight is going to be pretty much distributed 50-50. Okay, for the sake of learning on a beginner's level. But I always kind of will be rotating that weight back and forth and shifting it. I might be, at times, I'm 45% on the back leg, I'm 45% on the lead leg, right? So if I have more weight on the back leg, 55% on the back leg, I've got 45% on my lead leg. And vice versa, if I've got a little heavier on my lead leg, I've got a little less on my back leg. So depending on what kind of a fighting scenario you're in, you're gonna adjust that weight. So if you say, for example, you're in mixed martial arts, and you fight a guy who throws a lot of leg kicks. In the fight, you probably want to keep 55% of the weight, maybe even 60%, on the rear leg. And go, oh, well, yeah, okay, I see that. And the reason being is because now you know you're fighting a guy. Now I can adjust where the weight is on my leg very easily without anybody knowing, all right? Now, right now, I have just slightly more weight on my back leg. You can see I'm still, feet positioning wise, I'm still in my perfect fighting stance, right? The feet positioning, I'm still in the fighting stance. So right here, all right? Now, here I've got a little more weight on my back leg. Now, if I have to like pick up my leg to check a kick, I can pick my leg up off the ground quickly. Now, on the flip side, if I'm carrying a fighting stance like this, which a lot of, Muay Thai guys, they fight like this, right? If somebody rushes in and try to grab my leg, I'm sure there's different moves that they have to get away from it, but you're off balance because you got too much, you're too heavy, okay? So my question is, what's more stable? Are you more stable with 2 legs on the ground, right? Or are you more stable with 1 leg on the ground? Well, the answer is obvious, right? You're more stable with 2 legs on the ground. So right here, I've got my perfect fighting stance. Right now, I'm kind of more 50-50. Now, I've shifted my weight. You can't even tell I shifted my weight, but I have probably about 60% of the weight pushing through my right leg right now, and I can easily pick up my foot, check a kick, right? And keeping my fighting stance the entire time. Now, if I'm too heavy on my lead leg, then before I check a kick, I actually have to shift my weight back to pick it up, and that's too time consuming because those leg kicks are coming fast. So you want to kind of be like right in this area here. I'm in my fighting stance, right here, and I can, bam, I can pick it up, and I can kick, I can hop back, I can get away, and that's the reason you want to be in the perfect fighting stance. Now, let's talk about the weight distribution in the pads of your feet, okay, and where the weight goes. So first of all, in the stance here, I've got my right foot on the ground. Now, you'll notice that the blade of my foot is not on the ground. You'll notice my heel is not on the ground, all right? The weight is actually pushing through the ball and like the first, the ball in my middle toe. The weight is pushing through that part of the pad of my foot, all right? And the weight in my lead leg is pushing through the pad, which I went over earlier. All right, that is where your weight distribution is at. You don't want to be on your heels. When you get on your heels, I challenge you to try and put the weight on your heel. Here, I'm going to get the perfect fighting stance here, all right? And I'm going to put the weight on my heel, all right? Which a lot of guys fight that. I already have a harder time keeping my balance, all right, with the weight in my heel, all right? So in my left heel. Even though I have everything else the same, I got the weight pushing through my heel, and I'm already feeling like I'm going to fall over, okay? So in any fighting scenario, whether you're fighting in the ring, you're fighting, you're boxing, amateur, professional, you're in the cage, you're fighting amateur, professional, you're in a potentially threatening situation at school, on the street, whatever, getting and having a fighting stance is the #1 thing you can do to really protect yourself and set you up for the best possible outcome. Okay, there's ways to do things. Now, what happens, for example, say somebody walks up to me and they're threatening me and they're in my personal space. A very simple way that I can I can create more space and without letting the guy know, someone walks into my personal space, now I step back. You'll notice how I just step back from the camera and I'm further away, okay? So say someone gets right in my face, they're yelling at me. And now they're right here. Now I step back. Now I just put about another 1.5 feet between me and the potential assailant. Now, if that person, I'm not threatening you right here, okay? I'm in a very neutral position and I'm extremely dangerous from right here. I know how to punch from here. I know how to slip from here. I know how to block from here. Everything I know how to do with my hands up, I know how to do from here. Okay, and I've trained it over and over and over and over, and I'm going to also teach you how to do the same thing. But, when you're in this position here, okay, now I'm in a fighting stance and I'm ready. Now, no one is going to look at this, they're going to say, oh, he's ready to fight. I'm not ready to fight. I got my hands down. I don't have a fist balled. I'm just like this. I've got my heel off the ground, right? Say the guy then pushes me. Boom, right? And then boom. Now my heel can absorb the shock of that punch. But if he starts to step in closer, Now I know he's probably doesn't have, he probably means to try to hit me and hurt me. Now I can step back and I'm in a position to defend myself. You see, as I step back, my hands come up right away. Most of the time you do that, whoever is messing with you is going to know, hey, this person knows that what they're doing. They're going to leave you alone, all right? Because now it's like you took on the position of, well, this guy knows what he's doing. Now you're still going to have people who will try to mess with you because they think they're tough. And that's why we're going to get into how to block punches and how to throw punches and how to put your body weight into punches and how to knock people out and how to know where to punch in order to knock people out, okay? So anyway, DDP here coming to you guys. Thanks for watching. We're going to get into a lot more detail about the fighting stance, about your guard, about punching, about blocking, about slipping, about training your defense so you never get hit, so you have an invincible defense. About how to throw your punches in a way that you don't get countered, how to outthink and out strategize your opponent, and a whole lot of other really amazing material that you guys want to stay tuned for. Go ahead, smash that subscribe button down below, subscribe to my channel, and turn on those notifications and stay tuned, because every time I come, I'm going to be bringing you some really solid information that I've learned through over 30 years of fighting, over 150 fights. Professional, amateur, top level amateur, high level professional, fighting all the time, and I've got a lot of knowledge to share with you guys to help you shortcut your time from where you are now to where you want to go. Okay, DDP here coming to you guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time, and stay tuned. And we're going to be looking forward to making you a more dangerous fighter every single day. Take care.